Hello and welcome to the Transformers press conference here in Second Life. I'm Maxwell Lyle and I'm going to be your host for this unique and very special event. Today's press conference will bring together journalists, bloggers and fans from all over the globe, putting questions first to director Michael Bay and producer Lorenzo de Bonaventura, and then later to four of the film stars, Shia LaBeouf, Megan Fox, Josh Duhamel and Tyrese Gibson. But before that, just a little piece of housekeeping to let you know how this event's going to work. To ask a question, all you need to do is type your text into the chat box at the bottom of your screen. That's a chat box, not the instant message box. So we'll pick up the questions, but please be patient, don't send them all immediately. First of all, I'm going to ask one quick question and then throw it over to you. So first of all, please join me in giving a warm digital welcome to Michael and Lorenzo. Hi guys, how's it going?
Very good, thank you.
Excellent. Michael, is it true that when Steven Spielberg called you up and said, will you direct this movie, initially you said no?
No.
So
I said it after I hung up the phone.
So why
You don't say no to Steven to his face too much.
Why?
Why no and then why yes?
Because I thought my first inkling was I've been offered a lot of superhero movies before, and I thought it would be a silly toy movie.
Okay. Well, were either of you familiar with Transformers before?
Of course, I'm familiar with Transformers, but I never really collected them because I was a little older when those toys came out. And but I could safely say that I'm one of the bigger Transformer fans in the world right now.
Okay.
I've thought more about robots than probably anybody on Earth in the past year.
I think you're absolutely right.
And the pair of you went to the Transformers school at Hasbro, that's correct. Can you just tell us a little bit about what that entails, please?
Well, what's so much fun about that is that you have people that have lived with it since its very inception. And so they have a database in a way, an internal database that's better than anything you can. So Michael and I were lucky enough to go to Pawtucket, Rhode Island, which is where Hasbro's headquarters are. And they could give us not only a visual sense of what every toy line looked like and what all the different generations are, but we had a resource of people there. And that was I think, in many ways, I don't know, Michael, if you felt that way, but I felt that was the best thing, is because they were able to communicate their passion.
I was just fascinated with they had an actual professional Hasbro toy folder-upper.
Yeah, I know, it was great. You know, a lot of adults can't put them back together, so they had a guy there who come to every meeting with us.
That's his job.
And that was his job, you know, because those of us who couldn't put them back together again, you just hand them over to him.
Oh, if he's happy in his job, who's to say?
He is.
First question from Sneak Kid. This is to the pair of you. The Sun today reported that a 2-mile-wide UFO was spotted flying over the English Channel by an airline pilot and his passengers. Do either of you believe we have been visited by ETs?
I have no idea if we've been visited or not. I've never seen any evidence of it. Until I do, I don't think I'm going to believe in it.
I keep an open mind to that stuff. You know, when I did Armageddon, I worked with these people from NASA. I mean, these are just pure-out physicists. They absolutely believe there is life on other planets. They don't know if we've been visited, but they believe that there's life on other planets.
Okay. Do either of you?
I know there's life on other planets, but I'm not going to say that.
Yeah, I believe that.
No, I don't.
I know
I'm
it.
just kidding.
A question from Maps Boa. What would you say were the hardest scenes you had to film, and why, in Transformers?
I think the end action scene, because it was so complex. And remember, you're shooting stuff that's not always there, so you have to keep the entire thing in your head.
What's great about watching Michael work, though, is that the ability to do this gigantic scale and yet keep the human story alive. It's really exciting. And so, you know, as somebody just sitting there watching in awe at what he can do, that scene represents a real accomplishment.
So, I mean, I was watching it last night. It was just mind blown by how fantastic it is, and the effects are the best I've ever seen CGI effects in a movie. How long did that final Mission City sequence take to film then?
I'd say about 2.5, 3 weeks. That's pretty fast, though.
Okay. A question from
Nobody could do it that fast but him.
A question from Tara Gaia. What can you tell us about the special effects and overall look of the film in comparison to what people know about Transformers?
Well, they're going to see robots that, you know, I got a lot of flack from fans on the net saying that why didn't you just take the cartoon characters and make them full CGI? And I equate it to the Marshmallow Man in Ghostbusters. It would just it wouldn't hold up on a big 40-foot screen. So, we reconceived all the robots. We've added new ones. We've kept a lot of the iconic things with Optimus. I mean, it's Optimus Prime. It's just that he looks a little bit different.
And I mean, the effects, the CGI is completely cutting edge. Like 2 years ago, you probably couldn't have.
No, we couldn't have done this 2 years ago. And I always opt for very, very real effects. In terms of making sure the light quality looks real. That's where you can tell when an effect looks like an effect.
Question from Zig Dryson for you, Michael. How do you make the movie work so it's not just kind of big robots fighting each other?
Well, the movie, when you see it, it's three different stories, and it hinges on this small story about a boy buying his first car that just so happens to turn out to be an alien robot. I think that's the heart of the movie, and it's these big stories get kind of woven into it.
Okay. What was your first car and what was yours, Lorenzo? Michael, what was your first car?
My first car, let's see, what was my first
Mine's
car?
a Plymouth Sport Fury, 1966, puke green. We called it the Bay Boat because it was so long.
Mine was a 76 Volvo.
Okay. Which Transformer, this is from SL Joe Bailey, which Transformer do you each have on your desk? And I might as well say, which is your favourite Transformer and why?
I think we all have a lot of them now, don't you, Michael?
Yeah, we've got everyone from Hasbro. But Hasbro, I actually have a Transformer of myself. Hasbro actually made it. They sculpted my head and put it on a Transformer robot. Yes, quite interesting.
And
you know what? We're lucky. We've got a lot of them. So I don't think there's just one. I think in the movie, an unexpected one is Frenzy.
I like Frenzy.
There's a new Bumblebee toy coming out later. I think it's several months later. It's fully detailed like the movie. It's awesome looking.
Okay. There's a question from not Dame Judi Dench. Can you talk about the casting of the human characters and what you were looking for?
Well, I oftentimes we first started with Sam Witwicky, and that was Shia LaBeouf. We looked around from England to Australia to Canada, all over America, and Shia LaBeouf he's like a young Tom Hanks. He's really accessible. He's funny, witty. I liked him because he had a great improv skill. Megan's new. Rachel Taylor is new. I think they add some. I mean, Megan adds a great,
very fresh quality,
Yeah.
and it was a nice balance we put together of really established pros and newcomers. So it gave, I think, an energy to it. I mean, you get these great actors, Michael, cast people in unexpected ways too.
Mm. I mean, you spend a lot of time dealing with the characters before you get to the kind of the robots fighting each other. So that's good. You've compared in some of your interviews, Michael, the Transformers to kind of samurai warriors or ninjas. Can you talk a bit about why you think that will make that comparison?
Well, because I didn't want them to walk like lugheads. I wanted them to move in a very fast, quick way. And so we studied, kung fu movies and, different kind of ninja moves. And that's how we mapped and animated our robots.
Did you do the similar thing to what Ang Lee did with the Hulk? He kind of acted out all the movement of the Hulk.
Well, we didn't per se attach motion capture stuff. We actually videotaped different types of fighters, and we put them into different types of the different moves that the robots are doing.
Okay. I mean, the movie ends with the kind of the promise of a sequel, and I for one would like to see a sequel. Have you started thinking about it?
I was just trying to finish the first one.
It's a bit of a superstition also not to do it. I mean, it's gratifying for us that everybody's talking about, come on, make another one already, and we're waiting for the opening. I mean, it's a pretty Herculean task for a director to go through this, and once July 2nd rolls around for us, that's the time to start talking about it.
Okay, but if it's a hit, which we think it will be, would you do another one, Michael?
I mean, I've got to relax after this one. I finished it about 2 weeks ago.
Rest.
A question from Zig for you, Michael. Out of all your movies, which is the action sequence you're most proud of?
Wow. I mean, I'm proud of a lot of stuff in this movie. I've done a lot of action. I think on this movie, there's a lot of new and different that you haven't seen before. And it's always about trying to do something new and different.
Okay. I mean, which sequence in this film is a standout, would you say?
Well, these sequences, like the end sequence is 30 minutes long. So it's kind of, there's a highway chase. It's pretty awesome. But
there's so many highlights. I mean, the plane chase in the sky. I mean, you got to come in all different ways.
There's a question here from SL Joe Bailey. What would you say to my wife when I suggest we go and see Transformers and she suggests some chick flick?
Well, here's the thing. It's and this is, I'm most surprised about this. We just showed it in Italy last night. 50-year-old woman, 45-year-old woman, 35-year-old woman. They said, I didn't want to see this movie. I loved it. So we're getting a lot of that.
I'm actually not as, one of the things that in the development of the movie and then the execution was the amount of heart and humor was important to everybody. And Michael pushed that really hard. And I think that's why everybody's going to have some kind of emotional connection.
Okay. I think Michael has to leave us right now, but we've still got Lorenzo.
I got some more questions.
Oh, okay. There was a question here. Let me see. How much of the film did you have to cut down to get an acceptable kind of running time? Or the fact you're dealing with CGI, did you not really?
Well, yeah, CGI is expensive, and I had to keep it to about 450 shots. My movies are generally pretty long. I think the first cut was 250, but that was everything in it. And then you take about 5 minutes a week out. And then we got it down to about 212, which I think is a good time.
So is there deleted scenes that are going to be on the DVD?
Yeah, there are some scenes. Yeah, there's some funny scenes, but I think we got most of our stuff in there. It's just about trimming the scenes down enough.
One thing that the fans are going to want to know is how did you decide which Transformers to put in this film? Because obviously there's 20-odd years of mythology that you could choose from.
Well, this is how hard it was, I must tell you. The writers, they grew up with Transformers, and they picked some of them, but it came to a point when Hasbro said, we have to start making the toys. And I'm like, but we don't have a script yet. Well, we have to make the toys in China. And I'm like, so Ian Bryce, who's a physical producer, he says, what kind of vehicles do you want? I don't know, Ian, maybe a tank. Okay, let's have a tank. We saw this Minesweeper, and I'm like, okay, let's try to get that car. That's how it came about. It was literally we're forcing to make a decision without a script.
So it took longer to make the toys than it did to move it than the movies.
Yeah, they got to start actually manufacturing molds and whatnot before. It's crazy.
One question from Kima Sands. What's your motivation for being here in Second Life? What's your take on this digital world? And what do you think of your avatar, the pair of you?
I think he's funny looking, if you ask me. I think we can have a lot more. Is that me breakdancing?
I don't think so. I think that's an unwanted guest.
I think we can have a little more fun with it. I think it's a cool idea. I think once it gets more 3D interactive, instead of you guys just sitting down in a chair. Are they sitting down in chairs?
Yeah. I mean, they can jump around and leap if they so desire, but they're listening to what you're saying.
Then what's the matter with you people? Come on.
See, there's a guy chatting to you right now. Just in terms of the Blunty 3000 says, what was the hardest scene to cut out?
The what?
The hardest scene to cut out.
I don't think we had to make that.
There's
decision.
John Turturro had some funny lines, that
yeah,
speech.
But no whole scenes that really came out.
No whole scenes. No.
There's a question from Sapo Men Sands. With new technology, do you think that special effects will be able to replace actors and actresses? I mean, would you like to do a whole kind of Beowulf, Polar Express kind of movie?
No, that's. I know some directors. That's all they want to do. Not me. I would shoot myself if I got stuck in one of those stages with just blue around.
I think also we want to believe as an audience member, you want to have a sense of that it's a real person out there, and that you can idolize them or want to be like them or emotionally connect to them. And if they're fake, I think there's a real block to that.
Okay. When you first took on the movie, there was some online criticism. Did you take that stuff on board? I mean, how did you deal with the hardcore fans, and did any of them?
I actually I printed them out and I pasted them above my bed and I looked at them every night. Especially the one that says, "Death to you, Michael Bay. You wrecked my childhood, Michael Bay."
You know what? It's a difficult question because it's dangerous to be responsive too early in the process. And one of the things Michael did so well was own what he was doing before you start paying attention to what other people think you should do. 'Cause that's really dangerous. You're going to end up with a movie that doesn't make any sense. You want a director that has as strong a point of view and who can really understand what they're trying to accomplish, and and then you can pay attention to some of the feedback.
And I mean, what feedback did you take and put into the movie, for example? Was there anything?
There's some stuff. I mean, I got a lot of flack with Optimus with the flames, but Optimus was still going to have flames. And when you see the movie, they look pretty cool. So, there are things about Megatron's face. We adjusted some of that. I listened to him on a bunch of things. There were so many things. I'm forgetting some of them, but.
I mean, look, the key is that you want to do what everybody feels is right by the characters, and you want to evolve it forward. So you're always going to have feedback that, wait a second, what about? But if you give someone the same experience they had before, it's not fresh, it's not original, and I think Michael brought a lot to that.
I mean, clearly the best way to silence the critics is to produce a really good movie, and that's clearly what you've done.
Thankfully, the hardcore fans have come to us, and they have clearly been very excited.
Okay. Well, listen, good luck with the opening of the movie. It's July 4 in America and then international after that.
Actually, it's July 2nd in America.
July 2nd?
Yeah, well, the fans keep wanting it earlier, so we're moving it up for them.
So you listen to the fans.
Yes, we did.
Well, listen, thank you very much, Michael Bay and Lorenzo.
Thank you.
And we will be back in Second Life with the cast of the movie in a short while, so please stick with us.
Just make sure my avatar, next time I do this, can breakdance, please.
Duly noted. Hi, welcome back to this unique Transformers press conference here in Second Life. I'm here with Shia, Megan, Josh, and Tyrese. Hi, everyone.
Hey,
Hi.
how you doing?
So same thing as before. I'm going to ask one question, and then we'll throw it over to you. Shia, you were born in 1986,
Right.
which is, I think, 2 years after the Transformers first landed on this planet.
Right.
People want to know, is that how do you feel about the fact that you were in this film and you weren't even
Well,
born?
it's not like they disappeared early 90s. It was still around. It didn't like evaporate and go, so that was the cheap toy to have. That was what I had. I had the Bumblebee triple changer. I was into it. And I had Bumblebee little Velcro shoes. I was so smooth. And then, the Orson Welles flick. That's where the addiction started. Was the Orson Welles, the movie. Transformers, the movie. It was Orson Welles' last movie, dude?
Was it really?
Yeah. How about that?
So you're a fan?
I'm a fan.
Okay. And who's your favourite Transformer then?
Bumblebee.
Okay. And I'm going to throw it open to all of you. Fans of Transformers?
Of
before
course.
This?
Yes. I definitely grew up with them. Optimus Prime. Megatron for me. How does
Oh,
that
you're
mic?
dangerous.
How does that mic
Let's have a
smell,
dark
Megan?
side.
Isn't that right, Megan?
Yeah, you do. I didn't know about Transformers really. I was born the year the movie came out. I wasn't really around it that much, not because it was a boys' cartoon or whatever, but I just wasn't exposed to it. I was exposed to Ninja Turtles.
She's looking forward to the My Little Pony movie, Megan.
No, fuck that.
Care Bear.
Can I curse? No.
Well, you have already, so...
I have.
So,
This microphone, does your microphone smell like bacon? Because
No.
mine does smell it. It does.
Mine doesn't.
All right, well, it's mine then.
Okay, so I don't know how to follow that really, but a question from Zig to Shia. You've just finished working on Transformers. Clearly, you're now working on Indiana Jones 4. How do you compare the way that Michael Bay works compared to Steven Spielberg?
They both move at a fast pace. Steven is his whole thing is just more strategized. It's more planned out. Whereas Mike is interested in happy accidents. and creates a set where happy accidents happen often, where Steven is very is plotted and planned, you know? So just two different styles.
You've described Michael as being the sickest action director on the planet.
Right.
Could you elaborate on why you feel that's the case?
Because visually I've never seen anything close to what Bade puts on screen. And that's it. It's not like a real intellectual, convoluted answer. It's just a simple opinion that I have. Boom. There you go, Zig.
So Josh and Tyrese, you undertook boot camp, I believe. Was that right? I mean, how long were you training with the military?
Well, it wasn't so much physical training as it was learning about what the troops are, what they're doing day to day before they go over to Iraq. It's like a 100% simulation of what life will be like when they get to Iraq. So,
some of the information was great. A lot of it was a little over the top. We didn't necessarily need that much information, but it was nice to be exposed to what really happens in the midst of war and all of this stuff. So it was more mental boot camp than obstacle courses.
So did it prepare you for working with Michael Bay, for example?
No.
Which was tougher?
No. It was... You know what, though? Listen, at the end of the day, man, when you have 750 people on the set of a film,
Yep.
and you got one man that's the captain of the ship, you know, if he's lackadaisical and just chilling and he's Mr. Humility, then nothing is going to get done. So for me, you hear all these things before you work with Michael Bay, and then once you get to the set, you respect his process. So it worked out.
Megan, question for you.
Yeah.
Which Transformer has the most sex appeal?
Starscream.
Because,
Why?
Yeah.
Because he just is. Why was Simba sexy? He just was. Maybe it was because Jonathan Taylor Thomas was the voice. I can't tell you. It's just something that I feel.
And you're welcome to your opinion. A question to Shia from Sneak Kid. Which experience has been best for you? Getting your first car or your first girl?
First
And
girl.
The rest of the question is why. I feel redundant asking it, but I'm going to ask why.
Obvious reasons.
Okay. And apparently that question's to everybody as well. In your
My
case,
first girl.
boy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, same answer. It's a whole different. I'm not into like possessions and things like that. So emotions are always better rewards.
That's nice to hear. That's
Yeah,
so sweet.
I know,
You say
I
that.
know.
Yeah, that's mushy. Great.
And how about the men, presumably?
Well, you drive a Bentley, so why don't you talk about that?
My first car was more exciting because I never had a girl. So when I got my first car, I was very excited. It was an 83 Cutlass Sierra, black with the beige interior.
It's a nice
You know
car.
what I mean? It was a beautiful thing. I had no driver's license, just dodging the police, man. I was happy to be able to get a car.
And did the car have a name?
Living that boss's life. Where's that from? What song is that?
No, the car name was Fifi. Fifi. Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
There's a question from Torn Philbin to Josh. What was the most dangerous thing you did for the movie?
Well, they only let you do so many things, but I guess probably the motorcycle. Just being dragged on the back. That obviously wasn't me on the motorcycle, but
Oh, you shouldn't tell him.
yeah, well, they probably.
It was
don't.
Josh.
I mean, that was me.
Yes.
Sliding on the motorcycle was definitely the most dangerous, but I guess probably that whole sequence, being dragged behind on the little metal sheet and pretending to shoot up at the giant robot, was probably the most dangerous. And a lot of close bombs, like a lot of like explosions and stuff like that. The whole thing was pretty. Is all kind of a blur.
How about the other three of you? Because obviously it's a very physical film, and your characters go through the
The
mill.
biggest challenge for me was trying to remember all that difficult dialogue that I had while all of these bombs and cars and tanks and helicopters was being blown up.
That's what I mean by a blur. It's just like
So, you know, you got to run up the street. He's telling you that where you're running is all mapped out and cued out. And then when you get to the end of the street, you have dialogue for a close-up. And, you know, you just don't want to be the one to mess anything like that up. But you were a fan of everything that you just seen. So just kind of raises the stakes.
A question to Megan and Shai. I mean, clearly you do a lot of the movie acting opposite robots who aren't there when you're filming. just talk about that kind of process and how difficult it is, and then what's there at the, in front of you.
I mean, it's not the Elephant Man, It's not that. It's just cops and robbers with bigger bang, and Michael Bay. You just, you feel insane doing it at first, but then you kind of get used to it.
And to give you a visual, the robots are always represented by window washing poles, and they're the appropriate height depending on which character you're addressing and interacting with. And Michael would also show us these things called animatics, or previses, before, which was a raw form of the animation that was going to be frame by frame, shot by shot in the film. So you have a visual, you can see it. It's not, you don't have to completely imagine it and make it up.
A question from Blunty3000 to Shia. Clearly this movie will be huge and a sequel clearly will be on the way. How eager are you to reprise your role? And to everybody, because you all survived this film, so clearly you can be in the sequel.
Yeah, I mean, if Bay's on it, I'm in. It's got to be Bay or the movie doesn't work. So it's up to him. Whenever he's ready to go, I think we're all ready to go.
Is that true for everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm definitely on if they ask me back. I haven't heard anything, but
Me neither.
You definitely can't go wrong with, Steven Spielberg being the director either. It's a hell of a cushion. But Michael Bay, I think the style that he brought to this film, you wouldn't want to see it done any other way. So
Well, there's a question here from Ewin that basically wants to know what is it you like best about Michael's directing style. So I'll throw that open to
I liked
everyone.
my favorite part was after work. We'd cuddle and talk about feelings. And
we didn't have those perks.
Yeah,
it was in his
he
contract.
the softer side of Michael.
Chili's was our favorite.
Oh, my God.
We had
Chili's.
great
Elaborate.
times at Chili's.
The speed is nice, You don't spend too much time on stuff you don't need to spend too much time on. He gets it done. He gets what he needs. He knows what he needs.
30, 40 shots a day. Easy. Other sets, you'll do 500 takes of one scene, and he still don't end up using the best scene that he shot in the movie. He just gets it done. 15 cameras rolling at one time. Put your A game on. Let's go.
I mean, he was saying earlier that the end sequence, he shot that in 2.5 weeks, all that stuff in Mission City. That sounds quite
2.5
astonishing.
weeks?
That's what he said.
All of the stuff in the White Sands was shot in 2
By the way,
weeks. Alamogordo, New Mexico.
A question from Kino Mozog. Any injuries to boast about? That's to anyone.
I cut my pinky on a
You too?
on a piece of cork that was used as a piece of shrapnel. That
He
was
had
about
on
it.
open toe shoes, so it's kind of easy. His toe pinky was kind of hanging off his sandal.
Was it your left or your right pinky? Let's be specific.
My
Peter.
left, thank God, because I'm right-handed. Otherwise, I might have had to sit it out for a couple of days.
Yeah.
This is a question from Sapo Man Sands to everybody. Which is your kind of favourite character? No, we've asked that one already, haven't we? Megan,
Yeah.
another question from Sapo. Do you really know how to fix an engine? Are you a
No.
grease monkey?
No. I can show you where a manifold is, and I can tell
Bet
you
you
what its
can.
function is. What? And that's about it. I'm a tomboy, but I'm not good with mechanics. Is he willing to teach me? I'll learn.
Ooh.
You're getting good at this. You're getting really good at this.
I love that scene.
Great.
I love that scene when she's looking under the hood and he's like,
Is it true that you spent a day filming a kissing scene that didn't
Yeah.
appear in the movie?
Yeah, Shia.
Hell yeah, we
whose
did.
fault was that?
I don't know. I don't know why it didn't wind up. I guess I didn't bring my A game.
And where did that appear? Was that for the end, or was it?
Yeah,
earlier?
it was for the end. There was this little bit where we go back to high school, and there's a thing with the ex-boyfriend, and it was very romantic. It was a sunset. It was one of those Michael Bay circular 360 shots, and it took an hour.
I don't care. I was loving it. It was the best day of set. That was the set life. That was the life. It was a good day. It was fun.
So you enjoyed it?
I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I enjoyed it.
Just a little bit.
Just a tad, just a bit. I think Bay was just helping me out. I don't think that was ever in the script. I had just been asking for a couple months now, and then he just let it happen.
We're here in this sort of virtual world, Second Life. The question is from Ewan Balau. What do you think about Second Life? Have you sort of dabbled in it before? Or is it your first experience of it? What's your take on this virtual
I'd never
world.
even heard of this before. I think it's really cool, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
don't
like
know
your
what
top, Megan.
Is that me?
That's
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You
Wow, I
little
have
vixen.
gigantic tits.
I know.
Moving on, Suki Payne asked everyone, have you ever dreamt of directing a movie yourself, and what kind of movie would you like to direct?
I have not. No.
No, me either.
I thought you made it short, Shia.
Yeah, but I don't have dreams of like directing in the future.
You don't?
No, I'm actor for hire, man. Gun for hire.
I'd like to at some point, maybe.
I want
I
to.
got to get my DGA card first, though.
I want to do
It's a big
something.
commitment, man.
I know it is.
Yeah.
I have a 4-month attention span. You're talking about years. I don't know if I'm that dedicated.
A question from Sandro to everybody. Is there a dream director you'd all like to work with?
For me, it would be either Spielberg or Tarantino.
I feel like
Mike
I work with
Nichols.
Spielberg indirectly. He wasn't on the set every day, but my dream, honestly, was always to do a film with Michael Bay as well as Spielberg. So to get both being a part of this film was kind of very special.
Megan?
I want to be in a Michael Jackson video.
Okay.
An interesting choice.
Yeah.
And do you want to share who you'd like to, Shia, who you'd like to be directed by?
Yeah. His name's Bill Romanek. He directed Blue Crush.
Oh, okay. There's lots of 80s characters and series coming back.
That was John Stockwell. I just made that romantic name up because I didn't know who directed Blue Crush, but you did, and that's weird. that's weird.
That's because you were
All
in
right.
Paradise Lost, Touristas, weren't you? Directed by John Stockwell. What do you think about that? The whole kind of vogue of 80s characters and series coming, movies, TV series being remade. What do you think about the whole kind of why the 80s are such a big thing again now? Bad fashion.
Well, it's kind of like cars in a way. There's like a 20 or 30 year cycle on cars, like the 70s cars, like the 70s Corvettes are starting to get really cool. It's just it's bound to happen, and I think that we were one of the first ones to kind of get on it, in a way. There's a lot of other things that could be remade too from the 80s, believe it or not.
Like?
Care Bears,
That'd be hot.
Thundercats, He-Man.
My Little
Thundercats would
Pony.
be the shit.
Strawberry
Thundercats.
Shortcake.
They're doing Thundercats, aren't they? As an
Smurfs.
animated movie.
Well, I mean, like as a live action.
Smurfs.
That'd be bad.
Smurfs, so that would be good.
Because you could make it like on a fucking tree.
Yeah.
Weird. Yeah.
Plans for the future. You're shooting Indie 4 now.
Yeah.
Care to divulge anything at all about that film? Because
I don't.
No?
Nope.
Who you play?
Can't do it.
The ending?
No, sir.
No.
The ending.
I had to ask. Let's go. What are you doing next, Megan?
I'm doing a film right now that's here in London with Simon Pegg and Kirsten Dunst. It's based on a book. It's a true story about a journalist. It's called How to Lose Friends and Alienate People.
How's Kirsten?
She was really sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a good girl.
And how's Simon?
He's amazing. He's really funny. He's not you, Shia, but
Tell me, Megan, how was it working with Josh in this movie?
Josh Duhamel.
Yeah.
You have beautiful eyebrows.
Thank
and I've
you.
been really obsessed with them the
I
whole
had-
time we
oh,
were
really?
sitting here. Yeah.
Wow, that's nice of you. I appreciate that.
Anyway, and nice hair. I'll just throw that in. And Tyrese, what's your plans? Seems that you have careers in many areas.
It's a few things coming up. I'm about to do a tour in December with this new R&B group that I just signed up for. It's called TGT. It's
What's that?
Tyrese, Genuine, and Tank.
Oh, shit.
So
Really?
Yeah.
Shirts off tour.
It's called the Shirts Off Tour.
Yeah.
And we put a ban on all men from attending the concert. And we're going to try and do a worldwide tour. I also have to start working on my new album, which is called Black Rose. Hopefully coming out at the top
That's
of the year.
the name of my album too. That's crazy. How did you
We
get
talked
out of
about
here? That's
that,
right.
and
We
you
were
stole
talking
it.
about it.
You
That's what we were
stole it.
talking
Yes,
about that.
remember.
A question from SL Joe Bailey. If you could each transform into anything, what would you transform into, and why?
Well, I know that Anthony Anderson would transform into edible underwear.
That's what he says.
And I said, well, if you transform into edible underwear, I'm assuming they'd be worn by a woman, but then eaten by a man. So you want to be eaten by a man.
Yeah,
that'd
it's
be-
weird.
That's a
So I
good point,
think-
Josh.
So Anthony, I wish Anthony were here for this.
To at least defend himself with that accusation. What about each of you? What would you like to transform into?
B-2 stealth bomber. Megan, bacon, right?
Yeah, I'm obsessed with it. I can't stop smelling the
You
microphone.
transform into bacon?
What? No, never mind.
I would be like a 40-foot cruiser, like boat, like a ocean cruiser. And when I transformed into a robot, I'd be like, my name would be like, I don't know, Chill or something. And I would, my weapon would be just like
Chill.
gas people.
I want to be a B-2 stealth bomber.
I want to be Zac Efron so I can be in Hairspray.
Okay. Kino, question to Shia. Do you really like the Strokes?
Yeah, I like the Strokes. Strokes are a great band.
And another question. Actually, let's do the final question to everybody. What's your favourite blockbuster this summer or this year? And the question says, please don't say Transformers.
Transformers. Favorite blockbuster this year?
Fantastic Four. That movie's shit.
I would agree with you there. Josh?
I have to say Shrek 3.
Okay. Well, listen, I think Transformers is a pretty fab movie myself, so thank you very much for coming, and enjoy Second Life.
Thanks.
All right,
man.
thank you.
Got a little surprise for you, son.
No, Dad! Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, I am. You're not getting a Porsche.
Let me tell you something, son. A driver don't pick the cars. Cars pick the driver. It's a mystical bond between man and machine.
That's my car!
What you're about to see is totally classified.
Dear God, what is this?
We're under attack!
We are facing war against a technological civilization far superior to our own. Our enemy can take any shape. They could be anywhere.
From director Michael Bay.
No, wrong!
And executive producer Steven Spielberg.
He's not gonna go!
All right, you shoot!
You have to get the cars. Trust me. Bring it! Okay, listen, you gotta listen to me. If my parents come out here and they see you, they're gonna freak out. My mother's got a temper.